WFK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Steelers Preview Show. I'm Chris Carter, here with Dale Lolley, and we're getting you ready for the wild card weekend. The Steelers are on a bye week, but we are not, and we have lots to come at you. But before we do, we gotta talk about our friends at Henny Jewelers. Henny Jewelers on Walnut Street and Shady Side. Henny Jewelers, your jewelers for life. Now, Dale, there's a lot to talk about, of course, with the matchups coming up. The Steelers are trying to figure out who they're going to play, but you were at the Steelers facility. They didn't seem too concerned about who their opponent would be. They seemed more focused on themselves, right?
Yeah, that's what their focus has been this week, and guys have told me that if they're practicing or focusing on one particular opponent or all the opponents, the coaching staff isn't telling them that. They're working off of cards with the scout team, but there's no, hey, this is what Jacksonville runs, or hey, this is something that Kansas City does. They're just kind of going through their regular practices, basically working on what the Steelers do. And these guys, this is a very confident team right now. These guys feel very comfortable in their own skin. And Le'Veon Bell said yesterday, look, we've gone into the postseason, or we've been in the postseason the last couple of years, and we haven't had all of our weapons. This year we do. There's no excuses. If we don't win it this year, it's because somebody just beat us and they were better than us. We can't use it as a crutch anymore. So this is a team that's ready for the postseason. They're very confident. People have asked me why I feel like this is a team that can go into New England and win, into Foxborough and win. And I just look at the confidence level that they have. They're not going to be intimidated by any situation. They've been through a lot of these playoff games, and as several players keep telling me, like, look, we've taken a step each year. 2014, it was okay. They made the playoffs for the first time in a few years. They lost in the first round. Yeah. 2014 or 15, I'm sorry, they won a playoff game and advanced to the divisional round, losing to the eventual Super Bowl champions. Last year, they advanced to the AFC Championship game, again losing to the eventual Super Bowl champion. So this year, if they take that next step once again, it's get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. This is a team that you look at them; they're 22-4 in their last 26 games. They should be confident,
right? And they should be confident, especially because when you look at at plenty of those big games, for one, in all of those games, like you said, somebody was missing. And against the Ravens in 2014, Le'Veon Bell went out and LeGarrette Blount abandoned the team, and then they cut him. So then they were down to Ben Tate at running back, which completely just took away with the mojo that the offense had going. I mean, I honestly thought that offense could have taken anyone that it faced if they were on fire. Then 2015, they were looking good again, and then Le'Veon Bell was out, but then D'Angelo Williams goes down, and then they're down to Jordan Todman
and Antonio Brown.
And then Antonio Brown gets knocked out, but in the Bengals game, it's still remarkable to me that they found a way to win that game. That was just so bizarre.
What's really remarkable to me is that they were within a fumble of winning at Denver.
Of winning in Denver.
With Ben Roethlisberger playing with an injured shoulder.
Yeah, that was a heart battle. And I wasn't even mad at a lot of people come at Fitzgerald Toussaint for that fumble, and I'm like, yeah, it was a bad fumble, but you know what?
They don't get to that point
without him.
The previous week.
Yeah, like that catch he made on that third down on the wheel, I was like, oh my goodness, was that a play? It was just Ben Roethlisberger through the perfect pass. We're going back years here. But the point is, they were decimated in 2015. They were decimated last year at the Patriots. I mean, people talk about the offensive weapons. They didn't have defensive weapons. They were missing Cam Hayward, and Stephon Tuitt was playing on one leg, as you often talk about. This is the season. Even though they're missing Ryan Shazier, if they can keep all these guys healthy, I think that they have as good a chance as anybody right now.
Yeah, you look at the defense, the way it's now constructed. They led the NFL in sacks. Yes, they gave up yards here and there at times. And the big thing, you look at the run defense. Last week against Cleveland, it was all DeShone Kizer. 6 carries for 61 yards. The running backs barely averaged 2 yards a carry in that game. So the run defense, I think, if they buckle down on those things, they can stop the run. You're going to give up some scrambles to the quarterback when you play man-to-man defense. Right. Everybody in the secondary's got their back turned, so if he escapes the pocket, that's where they can hurt you. Offensively, though, this team is as good as anybody in the league, if not better than anybody in the league, and that includes that team up in New England. When you look at what Le'Veon Bell can bring to the table, you look at what Antonio Brown can bring to the table, Ben Roethlisberger, and oh, by the way, Juju Smith-Schuster, Martavis Bryant.
And that offensive line.
Vance McDonald. They've got weapons all over the field. I don't know how you defend this team. And right now I think the only defense or the only people that can stop the Steelers' offense is the Steelers.
Right.
And I really believe that's true if they've got everybody healthy, and it looks like they're going to have everybody healthy. Antonio Brown should be back for that playoff game. And
not only Antonio Brown being back, let's talk about also Le'Veon Bell got the Player of the Month award for the AFC, and he showed it up, and he didn't even play the last game. Really, skipped the second half of the Texans game too. For the most part, they didn't want to pound the ball with him in games that they were pretty confident they were going to win, and when they had the bye week locked up. How remarkable is it, Dale, that this guy, for a second year in a row, is the December Player of the Month for the AFC? Yeah, I mean, he's a tremendous player. The people who wanted to trade him or cut him or do any of those silly things in the offseason must feel pretty foolish right now. He is a difference maker. James Conner is not anywhere close to Le'Veon Bell. Sorry, that's not happening. And that's nothing against James Conner. He's a good guy, and we got to admire all the stuff he's overcome to get to the NFL. He's not Le'Veon Bell. He's not Le'Veon Bell. And that's going to be something. I mean, they're going to have to ask themselves some questions in the offseason about whether James Conner is their long-term backup for Le'Veon Bell. Maybe it is Stephen Ridley. He looked good in the preseason or the regular season finale. Mm-hmm. We'll see about that. That's stuff for down the road. But I think with Le'Veon Bell, with Antonio Brown, with that Antonio Brown out the last 2 weeks, they've gotten an opportunity to feature Juju Smith-Schuster and Martavis Bryant, and that's only going to help down the road. Those guys are now rolling into the playoffs with plenty of confidence as well. Yeah, I think that's a huge part, especially Juju. He comes off as a guy that, and I've talked to him in the locker room. You talk to him, when he's feeling it, he feels it. It's all around him. He's going on YouTube and getting hitchhikers in the strip district. He is a hitchhiker in the strip district. He speaks positively, and I mean, I feel like he's in a situation much like he's completely different from Heath Miller, but he's in the same situation as that he hopped on a really good team at the right time as a rookie, and now. He's working with Ben Roethlisberger. He's developing that rapport. And you saw last week against the Browns, he made several big plays in receiving games. And then he had that crazy kick return with the ridiculous stiff arm. He's finding ways to get things done. If I'm the NFL, I think I've said this for years. They should count their blessings that the Steelers have not been healthy the past few years. And if they are healthy in these playoff runs, I honestly don't know how you stop this offense, like you said, because Juju's a threat. And Martavis Bryant, you leave him in one-on-one coverage, and now that Ben Roethlisberger's hitting him pretty consistently, he's going to hurt somebody. Yeah, and so they're in a good spot right now heading into the playoffs. We'll see if that holds up. Of course, weather can always be a factor. Yes, it can.
But this team looks like it's primed for a deep run into the playoffs.
Yes, we'll get into a little bit more what the defense has to do without Shazier going into the playoffs right after these messages.
Football season is here, and it's time to cash in on the nonstop sports action with MyBookie.ag. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event. Plus, MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with a bonus up to 100%. With decades of expertise and no-hassle payouts, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code DKRadio to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-BETS or visit MyBookie.ag to open an account. Sign up today.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, Visit SchneiderDowns.com.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this amazing new website, stepoutside.org. Hi, I'm Dan Kovacevic of DK Sports Radio. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I know about the outdoor life that's available to all of us in Western Pennsylvania. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, hunting, take part in power sports, shooting sports, water sports in your local community, across our region, across the country at stepoutside.org.
Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Steelers Preview Show. I'm Chris Carter here with Dale Lolley, and we're talking about the Steelers' defense now. We just got done talking about all the praises of the offense and how well they're looking, and they're finally healthy for a playoff run. Let's talk about this defense, Dale, because they do have the most sacks in the NFL. I think they're ranked number 5 in pass yardage, number 4 in total yardage, number 10 in rushing yards, and I think they're also ranked number 5 in points allowed. They've done a lot of things right this year, despite, I mean, you also think on top of Shazier, they had 6 weeks without Joe Hayden. They had several weeks without Stephon Tuitt. TJ Watt was hurt early, yet they've just found ways to plug and play for so many weeks and keep the Steelers, especially in the early part of the season when the Steelers offense struggled, they kept the Steelers in games.
They did, and it's going to be different, as you noted in your midweek reader this week. With the inside linebacker position. It's going to be mixing and matching. It's going to be different guys playing different roles, and maybe that changes from game to game. But I think the key guy is going to be Sean Spence,
of course,
who they signed off of the street basically a few weeks ago. They feel like he gives them the best down-to-down guy in there. He's a guy who's familiar with their defense, a guy who's played in this defense, and a guy that they drafted in the 3rd round a few years ago. I had a chance to catch up with him this week for your midweek reader, and here's how that interview went down. Inside linebacker position, how's that evolved since you were last year? What's changed with that, or what hasn't changed with it?
I don't think much has changed since I've been gone. We made a few tweaks to the defense, but for the most part, it was pretty much the same when I got back.
When you replaced Ryan earlier in your career, you're doing basically the same stuff now that you were doing then? At time, I remember one time it was you and Vince.
Vinny, right? Yeah. So when Ryan went down, it'd always be me and Vinny. We'll go every series, and play it like that. So from it always been when Ryan goes down, it always been more than a one-man job. You know what I mean? So me, Vince, Moats, Fort. It's kind of been more than a one-man job to fill his shoes.
To kind of speak to the special things that he's able to do out there?
Yeah, man. I actually was watching some tape on him yesterday, just was watching film and watching him play. And the plays he was making, the things he was doing, man, was remarkable.
Now, that's originally what they drafted you here to be, though, right?
Right.
You were that guy.
I think so. But, things happen. I got injured, and then Ben was out 2 years. They drafted Ryan, and, he's ever since he's got here, he's got better and better. And I know when he was a rookie at first, he was make a lot of plays, but make a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? Because he was so young, and he's just making plays, just running around. And then watching him over the years and watching him evolve into not just a playmaker, but a person who lines people up, who communicates the defense, who's the signal caller. His growth has been huge.
And like you said, you just don't replace that with one guy.
Right.
Had he reached a point in his career where maybe he was starting to be as dominant as he could possibly be? The knowledge was there.
Right. Before the injury, he was in the defensive MVP talk. You know what I mean? I think he had like 89 tackles or so, 3 interceptions, numerous of passes defended. Man, he was evolving into one of those guys who was well respected around the league.
Do you ever sit back and at this point in your career and think, man, I could have been that guy. I could have been, or you don't concern yourself with what happened with the injury anymore?
I try not to, man. Nothing good's coming from that. You know what I mean? Everything happened for a reason. I was just fortunate enough that Pittsburgh held on to me for 2 years, and I was able to play here and get a chance to play with him as well and learn from him. But now I try not to look at it, that could have been me or that should have been me. Everything happened for a reason.
I mean, you were a fast linebacker. Not that you're not still fast, but how much of the speed do you feel like you lost with the injury?
At first, when I first got back, I thought I lost a step. But as I continued to play and playing games and get my body back used to playing, I felt that I regained my speed. Returning from injury I had is pretty tough. So it took a while, but I feel like I'm in a good place now.
Do you feel like you're 100% back into this now?
Yeah, I think so. From the Baltimore game to this game, I feel night and day. You know what I mean? Baltimore game, things just flashing, and it was like, whoa, where am I? You know what I mean? I ain't seen this in a minute. And then when we play against the Patriots, things slowed down a little bit more. And then this game, it kind of all came together for me. But there's still room for improvement. I'm still looking to climb and grow.
The way that they hit you for some runs, not you personally, but they hit the defense for some runs in the Houston game. Is that at all concerning?
Of course. Everyone hates when you get ran the ball on, but we know it was all us, nothing they did schematically to block us up. We kind of misfit some gaps. They brought some runs that we haven't seen, and it took us a while to get adjusted. And once we adjusted to it, I feel like we cut down on the big runs.
So that was Sean Spence, what he had to say about his journey, basically. You think about what he's been through.
What a wild one, man.
He looked so good his rookie year
in
training camp, and then gets hurt, misses 2 full seasons of football, comes back, is splitting time basically, replacing Ryan Shazier at times with Vince Williams, and they both would play when Ryan Shazier was out. And then he goes on. He played last year with Tennessee, goes to Indianapolis this year, gets cut. And gets re-signed by the Steelers, was sitting at home waiting for that call, and all of a sudden he's starting for a team that has an opportunity to win the Super Bowl.
That's a remarkable journey. But also, you heard the stuff that he was saying about Shazier, seeing him when he was young, and then he knew his stats. He knew how many passes, defense, and interceptions he had, and how many tackles. I'm like, this guy obviously, he's been keeping up with what's going on with this team. When I've spoken to him in the locker room, he said, I asked him, what's it like plugging back in? It's the same thing he's telling you. It's like he just came back and he's learned pretty quickly. They didn't change. Things have changed, but the base is still there. And in my midweek reader, I talked about, they're not going to use Spence in every situation.
Right.
They have to use L.J. Fort, I think, in most zone coverage situations when they're covering a deep part of the field, especially on like 3rd and 10, 3rd and beyond 10. But Sean Spence, they're going to put him in when it's 3rd and 3, when it's second, when you get those passing downs that could be passing downs, that could be running downs. Spence is still going to be there because he's going to be better in gap control, and that's what he does. He still has those techniques to win those battles.
Yeah, and he's an interesting guy, and should they win a Super Bowl this season, he's going to be one of the unsung heroes. And there are always unsung heroes on every Super Bowl roster or every playoff roster, and he's a guy that may not get a lot of publicity, and people are going to say, well, he didn't look good his first couple of weeks. Well, no kidding.
Yeah.
It would have been amazing had he come right back in and not missed a beat. But I think they feel like he's their best option at inside linebacker, and they're rolling with him.
Yeah, they're going to roll with him. I think it's going to be an interesting. I expect a lot of different things from the Steelers. They experimented a lot. Go ahead and go back and read my midweek reader on DKPittsburghSports.com. Replacing Ryan. It's an interesting piece. We have tons of film, both on what Shazier did for the Steelers, and on top of we look at what they've tried to do with replacing Arthur Moats, Tyler Matakevich, and then eventually Sean Spence, and how they mix Spence and Fort. You'll get a full explanation of what the Steelers are doing in the X's and O's. But that's the Steelers. They're not playing this week. In the next segment, we will talk about who is playing this week.
In Pittsburgh, we bleed black and gold and love our city. Born in Pittsburgh and now celebrating 130 years in the business, Henny Jewelers is proud to be your premier jewelry store. The holiday season is quickly approaching, so whether it's choosing that watch you've always wanted or you're searching for the ring that was made for her, trust Henny Jewelers. Visit our store on Walnut Street in Shadyside to see our extensive inventory of designer engagement rings, watches, and one-of-a-kind jewelry. For more, go to hennyjewelers.com and follow us on social.
Embarrassed by that stained carpet in your office? Tired of looking at your dull, dirty floor? My Floor Needs is here to fix that. With years of experience and 24/7 service, My Floor Needs offers stripping and waxing, carpet, tile, grout, and concrete cleaning, as well as polishing and buffing services. Call 888-67-MY-FLOOR or email info@myfloorneeds.com for a free estimate and get your floors looking like new again. Whatever your floor needs, call 888-67-MY-FLOOR.
Does your company ever miss its sales goals or struggle getting new business?
Is it tough to hire or to give reps the right tools?
Hi, I'm Dan, and I started Engaged Prospect right here in Pittsburgh to help companies like yours.
And I'm Sam. We're helping companies hit sales goals and grow their businesses.
Think of us as your inside sales team.
Our clients are experts in their fields. We're experts in inside sales.
Give us a call today at 412-715-5151.
Or visit us online at engagedprospect.com/DK.
It's been 50 years since the Summer of Love, but if you're not performing as well as you'd like, check out NEDforless.com. I'm Eric Cushy of Curtis Pharmacy. Don't pay premium prices for the little blue pill. So Denafil, the same active ingredient as in Viagra, costs 80% less. NEDforless.com. All we need is your physician's name. We do the rest. Free shipping, too. NDDforless.com. Curtis Pharmacy, Western PA's Better Way Pharmacy. CurtisPharmacy.com.
Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Steelers Preview Show. I'm Chris Carter here with Dale Lolley, and now it's time for the MyBookie.ag pick segment. Remember, MyBookie.ag is your place for online sports betting. Be sure to, if you go there, if you enter that promo code DK Radio, you'll get a 50% bonus on your initial deposit. Remember, MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid. Now, Dale, let's get paid ourselves. We're talking predictions. We're going to go through the schedule as it's set. Saturday at 4:30 on ESPN, the Tennessee Titans go to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored 8.5. Dale, who you got?
You know, I like the Chiefs in this game. 8.5 points, though, is a lot of points.
It is a lot of points.
But I think that the Chiefs have the horses to get it done. I think the Titans are just going to be kind of glad to be there. Don't be surprised if Tennessee loses this game if they don't fire the head coach.
Really?
Yeah, Mike Mularkey could be in trouble there. But I had the Chiefs winning this game 24-13. So that covers the 8.5 point spread. Take the Chiefs.
I'll take the Chiefs as well, and you can keep the points. I think that they're going to win by about 10 or 11. Let's move along to the NFC on Saturday night. In Los Angeles, the Atlanta Falcons are visiting the Rams. Rams favored 5.5. This is an interesting matchup because both teams have aggressive defenses, but I think the factor is going to be Todd Gurley in this game.
I think if there's going to be an upset in the first round, this is the game. This is the game.
Yeah.
The Falcons have the experience factor on their side.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams have basically nobody on that roster that's played in a playoff game, which is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how many Falcons fans travel. The Falcons aren't a huge draw in a lot of places.
No.
We've seen
the Rams aren't pulling anybody in their home
the Rams
stadium
aren't as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if they get any Falcons fans out there for that game. I'm going to go with the upset here.
You want the upset?
I can't see all four home teams winning in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
That rarely happens. I'm going to go Falcons winning this one 27-24.
27-24. I think it's going to be along the similar lines, but I think the Rams are going to win. I just think the Falcons are going to cover. I think it's going to be around the 27-24 range. I just think that Todd Gurley is going to make enough plays. It's going to be an interesting matchup. You got two inside linebackers, Mark Barron and Deion Jones for the Falcons. Those are two of the best cover linebackers in the NFL.
Mark Barron was a safety, so he better be.
Exactly, right? But here's the thing. He had just as many interceptions and passes defense as Ryan Shazier, who missed 5 games. But that being said, I think the Rams are going to be good enough to win this game. I know the Falcons, they do have the experience, and I like that factor in them. I just think the Rams are hungry right now. They're very good, and I think the Falcons, they're going to need to step back. I think next year is going to be the Falcons' years when they're not suffering from Super Bowl loss blues. Moving on to Sunday's games, we're going back to the AFC. It's 1 o'clock, CBS. Buffalo Bills going to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Jaguars are favored by 9. Now, Dale, you said the only chance the Bills have is if Kim Jong-un nukes the city of Jacksonville before this game happens. Do you think that the Bills even have a chance of keeping up and covering the 9-point spread?
I do not, especially if LaShawn McCoy does not play, and that's looking to be the case. I think Jacksonville, although I'm not a huge fan of the Jaguars, I think they stumbled into the playoffs, and I think they just would have been ripe for the picking for any other team that they had played in the AFC field. Getting the Buffalo Bills was a gift to them, and they're going to win this football game. I got them winning this 27-10, so not only winning, but covering, and then coming to Pittsburgh the following week.
Yeah, I have the Jaguars winning. I have them blowing the Bills out. As much as the Bills make me want to shout, they're not a team that I think is going to be
it's a
able
great
to.
Story.
Yeah, I mean, and heck, they deserve to celebrate. And like I've seen Facebook events invites for a Super Bowl party in Buffalo.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But no.
You're gonna be watching somebody else.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we know we're not going. We're just celebrating the Super Bowl because we made the playoffs this year. That's our Super Bowl. So I thought that was very cute. But and I mean, also the fans, they were there at like 5:00 in the morning when that plane got back on New Year's morning.
They were fan sickles.
They were fan sickles. It was freezing. But that being said, They have every right to enjoy that. I just think the Jaguars are going to end this season, but I think the Jaguars are going to be ended soon after that. Moving on, though, NFC South playoff action. The Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, is going to face Drew Brees and his New Orleans Saints. 4:30 game on Fox. The Saints are favored at home by 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Saints sweep the Panthers in the regular season?
They did, and neither game was close.
Right.
They were both blowouts. I expect this one to be closer. 7 points might be right on the number. I think this could end up being a push if you're looking at this one. I'm going to take the Saints, but I get the Saints winning 27-20.
27-20. I'm gonna say it's gonna come down to a 3-point game. I think it's gonna be 23-20 because I think Cam Newton is gonna be fighting, but I think it's what it's gonna come down to. These defenses are gonna get really aggressive. That Saints defense is gonna get a key turnover late in the game, and that when it's tied, and then Drew Brees is just gonna do Drew Brees like things and march them down the field, get them in field goal range. They'll kick the winning kick, and they'll move on to the next round.
Crazy stat of the week, and I didn't know this until I looked it up. Drew Brees, only 6-5 in the postseason. I would have thought that he would have had way more playoff games than that, but 6-5 for Drew Brees, 3-3 for Cam Newton. There's not a ton of playoff experience in this playoffs, especially in this round.
Yeah,
and I think that could be a deciding factor. When you start looking at those games. The Jacksonville-Buffalo game, neither quarterback has any playoff experience. The Atlanta Rams game, Matt Ryan, obviously, with the more playoff experience than Jared Goff, who has none. And then you look with Alex Smith with Kansas City, 2-4 in the postseason, but at least he has some playoff experience. None for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I think that's a key factor. And when people talk about experience, I want people to remember, since 2001, I think there has only been 2 seasons in which the AFC has not been represented by a team that was led by either Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning. And I think those two teams.
It's going to be that way again this year, and Peyton Manning's not around.
Right, exactly. So it's going to be one of those 2 teams. And those 2 teams were Rich Gannon with the Raiders and Joe Flacco with the Ravens. The Raiders are destroyed right now. The Ravens, they
Joe Flacco's just the ghost of Joe Flacco.
Right now, yeah. It's like he had a great playoff run that year, and that's his swan song. But I think it's gonna be coming down to those type of players. But in the NFC, it's gonna be interesting. I think that if there's a dark horse, quote unquote, I guess I'm not sure if you could call a division winner a dark horse. I think it's the Saints.
The Saints are my pick.
Yeah, they just that defense. Marshawn Lattimore's a bad man.
And when you start looking at that offense, they've got some X factors there as well. They are going to be a tough out for no matter who they get.
I think. Because are the Saints, they're the 3 seed, correct?
They are the 3, so they would go to Minnesota next week.
Oh, man, I wish they wouldn't, because I would have preferred to see the Saints go to Philadelphia and destroy them and then see the Vikings in the...
Philadelphia, they may be an underdog as the number 1 seed. Yeah. In their
Has that ever happened?
That I guarantee you it has never happened.
Wow. But they've looked horrible. They are so lucky. But don't tell fans in Philadelphia. I got several friends out there, guys. I went to Cheney. Man, they are like, we're coming, man. Nick Foles is going to do it. You got to believe us. Fly, Eagles, fly. It's not happening.
Nick Foles 0-1 in the postseason.
Yeah. It's
soon to be 0-2.
It's going to be 0-2. That being said, thanks, Dale. We had some good picks right there. be sure to watch these games. You're going to see if as soon as the Jaguars game is over on Sunday, you're going to know who the Steelers are playing the following week and who they'll be hosting. If the Jaguars win, they'll definitely play the Jaguars. If the Bills win, it means they're playing the winner of the Chiefs-Titans game. So that's the key things to watch. We'll be getting you prepped for that next week when we're back with the Steelers show. But be sure to keep tuning in to DK Sports Radio and DKPittsburghSports.com because we have a lot of great content coming out for you, including a Carter's Classroom preview of both the AFC playoff games. From Chris Carter and Dale Lolley, this has been the Steelers Preview Show on DK Sports Radio.